If you're trying to win a Capricorn, hear me clearly. The fastest way to lose them is to hand them a beautiful promise with no proof behind it. Because Capricorn doesn't fall in love with words. Capricorn falls in love with weight. They listen to the same sentence everyone else hears, and then they ask a different question. Not, was that sweet? Not, was that romantic? But is that true on a Tuesday? You know what I mean. Not on your best day. Not when you're inspired. Not when you're afraid of losing them. On a regular Tuesday, when life is loud, your phone is buzzing, you're tired, and nobody is watching. That's the moment Capricorn cares about. That's the moment they measure you. So if you've ever felt like a Capricorn is distant or hard to impress, or like they're silently evaluating you, you're not wrong. They are. But it's not cruelty. It's protection. Capricorn learned early that talk is cheap and consequences are expensive. So they don't buy talk. They invest in consistency. Here's the first truth. When you say, I promise, Capricorn hears I owe. A promise is a debt. And Capricorn is the sign that pays debts, tracks debts, and expects debts to be taken seriously. That's why big declarations can actually make them pull back. Not because they don't want love, but because love without structure feels like a trap. They've seen how fast a passionate speech can turn into silence. They've seen how quickly a forever can become, I was just emotional. Capricorn doesn't hate emotion. They just refuse to confuse emotion with reliability. So let me paint the scene. You're talking to a Capricorn. You feel the pressure. You want to impress them. You say something intense like, I'm different. I'll never let you down. They look at you. Calm. Polite. Maybe even warm. Then they watch. And the watching isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's daily. It's the tiny moments you don't think matter. Do you show up when you said you would? Do you keep your word when it costs you something? Do you handle stress without turning it into chaos for everyone else? Because Capricorn doesn't get convinced by a speech. Capricorn gets convinced by a pattern. And this is where most people lose them. They think the big promise is the beginning. Capricorn thinks the big promise is the test. Not because Capricorn wants to catch you. Because Capricorn wants to know what kind of foundation they're standing on. Capricorn is building a life in their head, whether they admit it or not. And they refuse to build on sand. So yes, Capricorn tests people. But not with games. With reality. They test your timing. If you say 8, do you mean 8? Or do you mean sometime tonight? They test your integrity. Do you act the same when nobody benefits you? They test your emotional control. When you're upset, do you communicate or do you punish? They test your responsibility. Do you own your mistakes or do you explain them until they disappear? And here's the sharp part. Capricorn doesn't always announce the score. You won't always get an argument. You won't always get a warning. Sometimes you'll get a smile and it's fine. But inside, they're adjusting the distance. Less warmth, less access, less investment. Until one day you realize you're talking to a version of them that feels unreachable. And you'll wonder when it happened. Capricorn will know exactly when it happened. It happened the 5th time you promised and didn't deliver. It happened the 10th time you made a small excuse instead of a small change. Capricorn rarely leaves in one moment. They leave in 1,000 quiet receipts. Now, let's flip it, because this is where the power is. Let's do a quick pattern interrupt. Imagine you're dating a Capricorn and you say, I'll handle it. You feel proud saying it. You mean it. Then life happens. You forget. Or you get busy. Or you decide it can wait. Capricorn doesn't yell. They don't beg. They don't chase you around the house with a speech. They just do something far more serious. They update their file on you. And that file is simple. It's not emotional. It's not cruel. It's one line. Reliable or not. Because Capricorn has a memory for impact. They remember how it felt to have to carry everything alone. They remember the moment they realized someone's words were decoration, not support. They remember promising themselves, never again. So when you come in with big energy and big promises, Capricorn doesn't get swept away. They get careful. Here's a tiny Capricorn moment you might recognize. A Capricorn is stressed, but they still show up. They still answer the email. They still pay the bill. They still do the thing. Then someone says, you worry too much. Just trust me. To Capricorn, that sounds like, stop being responsible so I can be comfortable. And Capricorn will never do that. They would rather be alone than be the only adult in the room. That's why they watch your habits. Not your hopes. Your habits. If you want a Capricorn to open up, don't bring them more words. Bring them proof that lasts longer than your mood. Instead of, I'll do better, say, here's what I'm doing starting today. Instead of, trust me, say, watch me. Instead of, I'm going to change, say, this is the plan. This is the timeline. And if I slip, I'll tell you before you have to ask. Capricorn respects clarity. Capricorn respects ownership. Capricorn respects a person who can be honest without being dramatic. And the secret move is simple. Keep small promises. Text when you said you would. Show up when you said you would. Follow through on the boring thing. Do the unglamorous work. Because to Capricorn, the small things aren't small. The small things are the truth. Here's a mini climax that hits hard. Capricorn doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be dependable. And dependable is rare. Now let's talk about what shuts them down instantly, so you never accidentally step on the landmine. First, promising to calm them down. If you only become committed when you're scared, Capricorn feels manipulated, even if you don't mean it. Second, talking big and acting small. Capricorn isn't impressed by confidence without competence. They can smell performance a mile away. Third, dodging accountability. If they bring up a problem and you immediately defend, blame, or rewrite the story, Capricorn hears one message: you can't carry weight. Fourth, emotional games. Trying to make them jealous. Testing their love. Forcing them to chase. Capricorn doesn't chase. Capricorn evaluates. If being close to you feels unstable, Capricorn will choose peace over passion every time. And here comes the next rise, because I want you to hear this clearly. Capricorn standards aren't there to punish you. They're there to protect the parts of them that are soft. People assume Capricorn is all armor. But the truth is, Capricorn is tender underneath. They just don't hand that tenderness to someone who treats it casually. They don't want to be entertained. They want to be safe. And when Capricorn feels safe, the love you get is not loud, but it is powerful. Capricorn may not flood you with words. They may not post you, praise you, or perform affection for an audience. But watch what they do when they trust you. They defend your name when you're not in the room. They show up when it's inconvenient. They help you build your future, not just your mood. They remember what matters to you and quietly handle it. They don't just say, I'm here. They rearrange their life to prove it. That's Capricorn love. Built, earned, durable. And if you've never experienced it, you might mistake it for distance at first. But once you understand their language, you realize it's one of the most loyal energies in the zodiac. Because Capricorn doesn't love you for the moment. Capricorn loves you for the long haul. Now, if you're a Capricorn listening, let's be honest. You're not impressed by charm. You're impressed by character. You don't want someone who says, I'll be different. You want someone who actually is. You don't want someone who says, I'll be there. You want someone who shows up without being asked twice. You don't want passion that burns bright and dies fast. You want effort that stays. So here's the final truth, and it's the one that makes people either respect Capricorn or resent Capricorn. Capricorn isn't hard to love. Capricorn is hard to fool. They don't hate promises. They hate fantasies disguised as promises. So if you want to keep a Capricorn in your life, stop trying to convince them with intensity. Impress them with repetition, with consistency, with a pattern they can trust. Because to Capricorn, results aren't just outcomes. Results are proof of who you are. If this felt personal, tell me in the comments. Are you a Capricorn, or have you loved one? And what's the one promise you never want to hear again? And if you want the Capricorn version for every sign, stick around. This channel is built for the long game. If you know someone who keeps trying to win a Capricorn with words instead of actions, share this with them. And if you want more videos like this, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next one will expose the quiet ways Capricorn tests you before they ever let you in.